Hi, I'm Katie Russ, and you're joining us here today for Rider Alumni Profiles. We're here with Jeff Barnhart. Thank you for being here, Jeff.
Thanks for having us, Katie. Appreciate it very much.
Wonderful. So let's get started.
Sure.
So tell me about your award.
The Small Business Award from the Mid-Jersey Chamber of Commerce was awarded to a business in the Mid-Jersey area that basically has done work in the area, that employs people in the area, has contributed to the community, and has demonstrated as a business success within the Mid-Jersey Chamber area. We're extremely pleased with receiving the award because we were awarded the rebranding of the Mid-Jersey Chamber several years ago. So the Mid-Jersey brand is a piece of work that Creative Marketing Alliance actually created.
Great. So how did your experience here at Rider prepare you for your career path?
That's a great question. I was a journalism major, and back then everything was pretty much the written word. And I learned how to really be able to write very effectively, very clearly. The journalism professors back then were sticklers to detail. Learned how to edit in a very concise manner so that the written word was edited properly. And then working with some of the communication side on the speech side, it was all about being able to write clearly, concisely, and also be able to speak effectively. In today's world, communication is everything. If you can't communicate either in the written word or verbally, then you're not going to be as successful as you possibly could be.
Right. And so from what you're saying, it really hasn't changed much here. But what advice would you have for a current Rider student?
Well, I was fortunate enough in my day here at Rider. I was photography editor of the yearbook. Also did photography work for the Rider News. So I got involved in a lot of activities. I worked with a lot of like-minded people that shared the same value and career-driven side of it that I had. And so I think to any future or any Rider student that's looking to get out in the business world, they have to realize that the things that we're looking for is people that can communicate effectively, can be able to talk effectively, write effectively, and be able to spell correctly. I think that's critical in today's world. I don't think that's changed since I've been part of Rider, but things within the environment itself have helped change that. I mean, you'd be amazed how many resumes I get from people that are written as if how they would text in abbreviated fashion, and you can't really do that. You really have to be able to still communicate in the old-fashioned way of how it was created.
Right. And a lot of the experiences that you need in the workforce, and a very important factor here at Rider, is those out-of-class experiences and internships. So did you have any internships that helped you in your career?
I had actually, my first internship was a springboard into the first part of my career. And I really encourage the students to get involved in internships because as a business person, I'm looking for somebody that has extracurricular activities or is doing things in an environment where they're socializing or working in a team environment. My first internship, I was actually working for Nassau Broadcasting WPST radio, answering their request line at night. And then I took it upon myself to get involved in doing radio ads and writing copy for radio ads and producing radio ads. And from there, I had a second internship where I I was shadowing one of the account executives and selling radio at that particular time. And they had an opening when I graduated, and they didn't even publicize the opening. They liked what I was doing from an internship capacity, and they said, hey, we have this opening. You've expressed an interest. You've expressed a desire. Would you like to take advantage of this opportunity? And I did. So my first actual job out of college was driven by the internship that I had while I was here at Rider. And I would certainly encourage any employee or any Rider student to do that, because you can have all the studies you want, and I'm not discounting them. That's the baseline for what you do. But it's really how you perform out there in the real world. You need to get some of that real-time experience as quickly as you possibly can.
Right. And what may be a little bit different is now part of the real world is having a huge social media presence. So would you recommend that to students, to have a great social media presence?
Well, I would recommend they have a great social media presence, but I have to qualify that because a lot of times in social media today, people are more inclined to produce, they're more casual social experiences, and I would encourage students in their social media to be as professional as they possibly can be, because as potential employers, we're looking at your social media as a pre-qualification, and you don't want to see rowdy pictures up there and a lot of drinking binge pictures or things like that. That's going to hurt you. But being adept at social media, being able to utilize social media, being prevalent on social media, that's the way of the world today. I mean, in the earlier day, word of mouth was how everything basically got communicated. That was a primary way of communicating. And today's word of mouth is social media. So it's an extension of what you do as an individual. But just remember, keep it professional.
So last question. If you could go back in time and tell yourself something as a Rider senior, what would it be?
If I could go back in time and talk to myself, the first thing I would say is relax, everything's going to be okay. I can appreciate and I'm empathetic with a lot of the students today. They're under a lot of pressure from parents and peers and faculty and everybody, and you get stressed out in your studies and everything else. And if I could go back in time, I would say relax. You're going to turn out okay. If you do your work, if you put your time in, and you do the work, you're going to be just fine. Relax and enjoy the journey. I mean, to me, it's all about the journey. And if you put your time in, you do your work, and you enjoy the journey, that's what I would, pretty much go back and tell myself. It's you worked hard, you did what you needed to do. Relax and enjoy it, and things are going to turn out just fine. I know today there's a lot of stress, like I said, going on, but everything's going to be okay when you get out there in the real world.
Right. I know a lot of Rider seniors right now that could benefit from that piece of advice as well. Well, thank you so much, Jeff, for joining us here today. This was this week's Rider Alumni Profile. Thank you so much.